The final impact before Bound for Glory. Welcome back to the ACB Wrestling Talk channel, your main source for wrestling news, topics, discussion, previews, all that kind of good stuff. I am your host, Alexis Carrillo, and tonight, this edition of Impact Wrestling is the final stop. It is the go-home show en route and on the road to Bound for Glory, which will take place October 14th from New York City at the Melrose Ballroom. This episode, however, is the final episode from Mexico City, Mexico, and they've got a lot of work to do for tonight because, at least, this is my opinion, this is just how I view the current situation, the current build. They have a lot to do to try and convince viewers to purchase the pay-per-view. That's how I see it, that's what I believe. But let's go right into the official lineup, and we've got ourselves a pretty good, that could be amazing, four-way match to probably start up the show. And the whole story right here is trying to impress the Smoke Show, trying to impress Scarlett Bordeaux. We saw it last week in those backstage segments. She had a lot of interest in Petey Williams and Eli Drake and Jack Evans, and they've kind of made a point of how she pushed Fallah Bahh into a world title match with her, being the voice inside their head. So they're building up this whole program where people are seeking Scarlett Bordeaux's services. But as far as the match goes, we've got Petey Williams versus Trevor Lee versus Jack Evans versus Puma King. Now, one thing I will make you clear about, I have no idea who Puma King is. I've never seen him wrestle. He hasn't been a part of any big American wrestling organizations, and that is why I am uncertain of what he can do, as all I know is that he is a luchador, and I love luchadors. They've got the style that is exciting and high-flying and fast-paced. Speaking of that style, we've got Jack Evans returning to an Impact ring, and as much as I would love for him to be, a full-time wrestler for Impact Wrestling, as much as I would love for Impact to offer him a contract and for him to actually sign it, I think that's a far-fetched idea right now. So for now, we'll have to settle for watching him wrestle on tonight's episode of Impact. And we've got Petey Williams and Trevor Lee, which are great performers in their own right, and pretty much we had the segment from last week focus on them too. With Petey Williams, trying to instruct Scarlett Bordeaux in the arts of the Canadian Destroyer. So anyway, as far as who wins this match, I gotta go with Jack Evans. He's my favorite. I think he's the one who's going to adapt to this four-way match style even better than anyone else. Although, like I said, he isn't contracted to Impact Wrestling, so that doesn't do much for them. But hey, you never know. I mean, we saw last week, Murder Clown beat Joe Hendry, so, we'll just have to wait and see what happens on tonight's episode of Impact. Then we've got Tessa Blanchard, the Knockouts champion, facing off against Keyra. And as far as I know, she is a woman performer, a wrestler from AAA Worldwide, Lucha Libre Worldwide. Again, don't know much about her. I don't watch AAA. And I gotta say, these are some of the things that, at least for me, aren't the best things about going to a different country to do tapings, because then you have to cater to that audience, to the live audience, and you introduce a lot of wrestlers for a one-time thing that, a lot of viewers watching at home are not familiar with. So anyway, obviously, Tessa Blanchard has to get the win here, and you have to have La Güera Loca, Taya Valkyrie, come out, and start a brawl or start a mic battle, whatever. You've got to build this feud, past the point of, yeah, you challenged me, and we've got the match settled. That's pretty simple, that's pretty basic, that's pretty boring. And the match it's Taya versus Tessa. You know, you got two very good women performers. Just build up the program, build up the feud, build up the story. That's what I'm asking for. Tessa Blanchard, at least for me, gets the win right here, right now. We've got LAX and the OGz in a summit. So, is this going to be in the ring? I doubt it. It might be outside the ring. But the real question is, will the ceasefire be broken by any one of these teams on tonight's episode of Impact? Because you could make the case that we are so close to Bound for Glory that even if they do break the ceasefire, you know, you could still have the match at Bound for Glory and then the consequences come later. As far as my opinion, as far as how I would play this out, keep it how it's always been. Keep making things personal on the part of the OGs towards LAX. And have LAX be put on hold by Konnan, convincing them that 3 days away, 3 nights away from the Concrete Jungle match at Bound for Glory. That's what I expect from this segment. You know, a brawl might happen. You know, I don't take away that possibility. That there's always a possibility, especially, like I said, it's the last stop to Bound for Glory. You know, there could be some physical interaction between the two factions. So we'll just tune in to Pop TV for later on Impact Wrestling. Then we've got a 6-man tag team main event. We've got the alliance of the Impact World Champion Austin Aries tagging with Money Moose and tagging with Killer Kross. This unstoppable group, you know, that nobody has been able to beat. Nobody has been able to confront in a way that is threatenable. That is a real threat to them. And on the other side, we've got Eddie Edwards, we've got the return of Fallah Bahh, and we've got the #1 contender for the Impact World title at Bound for Glory, Johnny Impact. And as far as the, last week's segment, it kind of dragged on a little bit. It could have ended a little bit sooner. And Johnny Impact did need to get the overall win, if you could call it a win, of that segment. Because, Austin Aries just buried him on the mic. So Johnny Impact needed to get that win last week. Who wins this 6-man tag team match? Who comes out with the victory? I gotta go with Aries. I gotta go with Aries' team. And Fallah Bahh taking the pinfall. I'm guessing that's the only reason why he's quote-unquote back. Just to take the pinfall right here and there. Keep everyone strong on the road to Bound for Glory. And as far as the tweets that Austin Aries, sent to Johnny Impact, it's all part of a feud. It's all part of a rivalry. It's all part of Austin Aries healing it up, creating heat for the rivalry and the match at Bound for Glory. I doubt that he is like this in real life, because I don't recall any kind of similar tweets from Austin Aries in the past to any particular person, female or male, So I think there's not much to be said about those tweets. Just that, a lot of wrestlers, a lot of wrestling companies are now using Twitter to build up feuds, to build up to build up the rivalries and build up the excitement for the match. That's how I see it. And last week we also got a segment between the Desi Hit Squad. It was going to be Gursinder Singh versus Rohit Raju tonight to find out who the weak link of the Desi Hit Squad is. As far as that goes, I think it's a little bit too soon for that. Not to mention, I don't think it fits on tonight's episode of Impact. If tonight's episode of Impact is, or should be, all about Bound for Glory, all about the road to Bound for Glory, the Desi Hit Squad are not a part currently of that card. So, I would have waited, sat on it, and put it on the week following Bound for Glory. Create some tension after that. But we'll see, because it's not really on the official lineup. It hasn't been confirmed by ImpactWrestling.com. So, hopefully, they move that segment into next week's show. And we also have to find out, will Rich Swann find a partner tonight for Bound for Glory, or will we have a surprise on Sunday night when he reveals a surprise tag team partner? We'll have to find out later on tonight. Will Eli Drake confirm tonight that at Bound for Glory, at the biggest pay-per-view of the year, he will have an open challenge with another possible surprise coming out? You know, I'm very adamant about the fact that if Eli Drake does have an open challenge at Bound for Glory, the perfect opportunity to not only put the spotlight on Impact Wrestling, to not only create headlines for Bound for Glory, is for Chris Jericho, Y2J himself, to debut at Bound for Glory and accept Eli Drake's open challenge. And I'm kind of hoping that happens, because I would just, it would just blow my mind if that happens. So, fingers crossed, Eli Drake gets an open challenge at Bound for Glory, Chris Jericho comes out, we got ourselves an impromptu match, and a Bound for Glory moment is created. But anyway, those are my thoughts on tonight's episode of Impact Wrestling. That's the preview. Make sure you tune in to Pop TV to catch this go-home show for Bound for Glory. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you dislike this video, hit the dislike button. If you follow wrestling news, topics, discussion, previews, all that kind of good stuff, consider subscribing. Make sure you check out all the previews that we have for each Bound for Glory match right here on the channel. That's it for me. Till next time.